Welcome to the 6th season of Heartbeat of Holliston. I'm Chris O'Lawless.
And I'm Paul Saulnier.
6 years. I can't believe we've been doing it this long.
Is it really that long?
Yeah.
But
new season, new background. What do you think?
I love it. Wow, it's just like being at the Masters, don't you think?
Yeah, well, let's bring our clubs next time we come. It's beautiful. And also, did you notice we have a new door? You can always find HCAT now.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And what's new behind the door? Anything?
Oh, lots of stuff. Wait, we'll have to tell you about that now. But the old door looked like, you know, very unobtrusive, and now we're right out there.
So because we're back, does that mean summer's over?
I hope not, but we did have a good one, though, didn't we?
Absolutely. I didn't get away, but still it was nice to be here in Holliston.
Yeah, it always is. So we're going to tell you all about it. On this show, you will hear about the Holliston Parent-Teacher Organization's plans for the school year, see the July 4th grand opening of the rail trail and the 8-Arch Bridge. We have an update on the Holliston Habitat for Humanity project and insight into Holliston's real estate market.
And we cover the America in Bloom Judges Visit, a farewell to one of our great citizens, and a special look back at the summer in Holliston in 2018. So let's get started with our first guest. Please meet Anne Buckley from the PTO. Welcome,
Hi.
Anne.
Good to meet you. Good to be here.
So tell us what is happening at PTO.
Well, the PTO is a volunteer organisation. It's parent-driven, and we're always looking for more volunteers. So if people have an hour to spare, we'd love to hear from them. But we provide resources for children from pre-K all the way through to 12th grade. We try to provide enrichment programmes. So Mindshare is one of those programmes. And then we also have Destination Imagination, and we have the Ski and Snowboard Club.
Sounds like fun.
How does Mindshare work? What's that all about?
So Mindshare is what you may have heard of as the Parent Education Programme. We decided to rename it this year. We felt that that better reflected the needs of the programme and was more inclusive. We felt that parent education limited us in our reach. It sounded like we were only aiming at the parents. In fact, we were aiming at more people than just parents, more audiences.
Right, because I know, like last year, you had done some sessions on like marijuana and drug awareness.
Absolutely.
So it is much more.
Yes, it's all-encompassing. It's parents, it's students, it's teachers, it's administration, it's the whole community.
That's a challenge.
It is a challenge.
Does drug education extend down into the middle school?
It does, and in fact, I'm working closely with HDAC, Holliston Drug and Alcohol Coalition. They're one of our key partners, and they help us to address the very valid issues that are current at the moment. So vaping is one of the things that we're looking to have on the agenda this year.
Vaping is what?
So vaping is e-cigarettes. It's the little digi. They call it a vape. Substitutes for cigarettes, but they carry chemicals and they carry all sorts. They actually carry tobacco as well. A lot of people use them as an alternative to tobacco, and in fact, there is tobacco traces within there as well.
And you find that kids are using them?
Kids are using them. Yes.
Kids can buy them or not?
Kids cannot buy them. We have the vape shop in Holliston. They have been very good at working with us in terms of limiting the sales, but where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, sure.
So that's one of the big challenges that our Mindshare program will be looking to address during this coming school year.
Wow. So what else are you going to be covering in Mindshare? And where'd you get that name?
So Mindshare came about because we wanted it to be more inclusive. Yep. We wanted it to be more of a sharing of knowledge rather than a giving of knowledge. We wanted to encourage discussion and debate and start conversations. So you'll notice that the programming is not just a case of a speaker coming in and talking at you. We have panel discussions, we have panel debates, we have round tables, and we invite people from the community and experts in the field to come in and address the community, give them the opportunity to hear what's going on. So we felt that it was a sharing of minds, a sharing of knowledge, and Mindshare really tapped into that.
Yeah.
Good. And so what have you got planned?
Sorry, yes. So what we have planned, we have a wealth of information coming to Holliston this year. We're kicking off the programme in next month, October the 4th, by bringing Heather Abbott, who is a Boston Marathon survivor. She'll be coming to talk to us about overcoming adversity, perseverance, grit, all of the skills that can't be learnt from a textbook, but we all want to equip our students and our children with. So she was actually involved in the second of the bombings that took place in in the Boston Marathon, and she lost a leg. So she's also going to talk to us about support networks and kindness and strength, which are also valid and very useful skills for us all to have. Then beyond that, we will look at the youth substance abuse. So we won't limit it to just drugs. Alcohol, of course, is another issue with underage drinking, and we'll look at addiction. Last school year, we invited Dr. Ruth Potey. She's an expert in the field of adolescent psychology, and she helped us to understand some of the triggers behind the decisions that these students are making. So she helped us understand the underdeveloped brain and how it will make decisions because the frontal lobe is not fully developed. So we can understand better the science behind it, which helps us then to educate and to support those students through a difficult phase.
Does PTO do anything less serious, something with the kids?
We do, absolutely. So the PTO does some great fundraisers, which really involve the children. Okay. So the PTO Readathon is coming up next month. So we encourage the children to read their books of their choice, and the parents pledge. So we raise funds that way for them. We actually raised more than $11,000 last year, which was fantastic, and that allowed some of the classrooms to have some more creative tools in the classroom to allow children to have more engaging learning experiences.
Why should parents come? Everyone's so busy these days. How do
Absolutely, yes. Well, HCAT has actually been really useful with in that respect. We have a fantastic relationship where, subject to the speakers agreement, we are able to record the programs, so people can actually access them through the HCAT website, which is fantastic. But the other reason is you don't have to be a PTO member to come to the events.
All right.
So it's open to all. We've already provided you with a great high-quality speaker on a topic which is relevant and important, and why not?
Okay, yeah, good point. Well, thanks very much, Anne, for coming and sharing your information with us.
And then how can we find out more about it?
So you can go to the PTO website, hollistonpto.org, or we also have a Facebook page, so just look up Holliston PTO on Facebook. Thank you. Yes. And we also use social media and social community pages to advertise as well.
Good. Well, thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
So the PTO's mission and programs will certainly enhance and enrich school experience for Holliston families.
The highlight of the summer was definitely the grand opening of the newly restored 8-arch bridge, the keystone of the Holliston Rail Trail. The bridge began construction in 1846, and the first train pulled into Holliston on July 4th, 1847. 171 years later, the town celebrated with a community block party and laser light show. Mayor Bobby Blair engineered the party with food, bands, and ribbon cutting. Over 1,000 friends and families watched the laser show. Let's join them.
A real citizen-led effort. What a phenomenal rail trail Holliston has done. I have to say, it is a model not only for the Metro West, but for the whole state. And you should all be very proud of it.
In Holliston, community is more than just a word, it's actually an action verb. And I think what we see here in the rail trail is really the epitome of what we all love about our community. It's a place to come out, it's a place to spend time and make connections face to face. And whenever you come out here, I come out here when I drive by, say at 7 o'clock in the morning, there are people on the rail trail, and you come out here at 9 o'clock at night and there are people on the rail trail. And I think that use really just speaks to how important and how wonderful this is to our community. What's old is new again, and this group of tremendously talented and dedicated and committed people have really given what is a sort of an old asset, a new life, a new lease on life, and a wonderful future for this community. And that's what we're here to celebrate today.
Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations, one for Bob, one for her, clearly, in recognition of your dedicated efforts as a founding father of the Holliston Rail Trail Committee. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success. And the citation is signed by the President of the Senate and the Clerk, and it's dated today, America's birthday, July 4th. Congratulations.
All right, what a day, and be able to have 6.7 miles of rail trail taking 20 years and thousands of hours of help. Thank you all for all you've done. All right.
Welcome to the Holliston Laser Show. The grand opening of the Holliston Rail Trail has been over 20 years in the making, and you now have 6.7 miles of trails for Holliston to enjoy.
This was a model project from start to finish. We salute the Friends of Holliston Trails and the 8 Arch Bridge Restoration Committee for overcoming challenges and making this vision a reality.
So in the news, the Leonard D. Chesmore VFW Post 8507 is a viable presence in our town. Through their Memorial Day and Veterans Day events, they honor and support our veterans. Recently, they held an installation of new officers. The new commander is David DeJan, senior vice commander is Robert Hopkins, the junior vice commander is Peter Gulnitz, and among the officers are Quartermaster Henry Deliker and Adjunct Ralph Stover. Sadly, the beloved chaplain of the post, George Snow, passed away in August. George was always an eager teacher of young generation about the history of our flag, and as he did for many, many years at the annual flag burning disposal ceremony at Lake Grove Cemetery. Snow also instituted a program through the veterans organizations that each family of a deceased veteran receive a Bible at their passing. Here is George at the Veterans Day 2017.
The young people in this country have got to carry forward. It's great in one sense that there are a few old veterans to do it, but we can't let the tradition die. We must always remember those who gave their lives to save us.
As Steve Bradford said in the Holliston Reporter, rest your oars, sailor, we've got your watch.
Holliston's second Habitat for Humanity House hosted a Women Build event. This brings women volunteers together to learn how to actually build a house. Working with the construction site manager, the women learn how to use power tools and construction techniques. The day we visited, a group of women from Natick were the enthusiastic volunteers in this hands-on and empowering experience. We're here at 72 Chamberlain Street, which is a new address in town for the Habitat for Humanity House for Maggie Benjamin and her family. Let's see what's going on today for the Women in Build Week project.
Today we have a group of men and women from the town of Natick who've done some fundraising for us. They have a group of about
I think 13 or 14 who have come out here. And we're on the finishing stages of our second home out here, and they're helping us out today with doing some landscaping at our first house next door. They're doing some painting here upstairs. I got a group of women working with one of my volunteers, Dan, installing some laminate flooring. And that's just what we got for the morning. The afternoon all changes. So,
how's the next piece going to connect?
Oh, the next piece on this side. Right. Gotcha.
We started, I want to say, a year and a half ago or so.
Right.
Over on Mona's house over there.
Yeah.
And it was just a foundation when we started.
Yeah, I remember that. And then, so you just, you're handy, and that's how you got involved, and you wanted to help out Habitat.
I just found this, I wanted to build a house, and they let you.
That's great. And you're teaching these women all kinds of technical things today. How are they doing?
Well, that I learned, and I'm passing it on. I always believe in passing on information. They're doing great. You can see.
The floor looks great.
It does.
Yeah. All right.
Habitat for Humanity, its core is driven by regular volunteers who are primarily a group of men and women who are semi-retired or retired, and they contribute anywhere from a few hours to a few days a week. They act as my team leaders here. And so today I have, for example, the group of women that are helping installing the flooring. They're being shown how to use all the power tools to install it, the hand tools to put it in, to cut it down, the miter chop saw, the table saw. We'll be installing cabinets and baseboard possibly this afternoon, so we'll have some of the pneumatic tools out. I endeavor to get as many tools in as many people's hands as I can.
Good. Yep. Good.
During our women's build, but the folks come here, and their husbands won't let them use any of their husbands won't let them use any of the tools at home. And here, we show them how to do it, and they get free reign. So we like to build confidence in everybody. We're a very non-critical, casual community building environment. So we don't make lots of mistakes, but if they do, we can make do. I'm hoping we can get our occupancy before the end of June.
Wow.
We're moving right along. What we have left to do here is primarily all inside the house. When we take a tour through the house, we're kind of going from the top down now. The biggest projects left inside are installing the finished set of stairs and installing the kitchen cabinets. Outside of that is primarily just a lot of paint, some miscellaneous finish trim, hanging towel bars and that kind of stuff. We have the appliances coming on Monday. Whirlpool donates all our appliances, our kitchen appliances nationwide. So we're trying to get everything together. Outside the house, we're working on some of the landscaping, but the outside of the house is complete. The septics are in, the well's in. We got to connect the dots on everything.
For Heartbeat of Holliston, this is Chris O'Lawless. The second house at 72 Chamberlain Street is the 50th affordable home that Habitat for Humanity Metro West Greater Worcester has built.
Housing is a big part of everyone's lives. Our next guest is Heartbeat's own Melissa Kaspern to update us on the real world of real estate. Welcome, Melissa.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. A little different on this side of the interview chair, so be nice.
So how's Holliston doing?
Well, Holliston's doing really well in terms of real estate sales. If we look at last year versus this year, we are up about 2.5–3% in terms of what homes are selling for, which is good. We still are at low inventory throughout,
Is that good or bad?
It's good if you're a seller, and it's a little challenging if you're a buyer. Just not as many homes on the market to choose from. So it's still pretty much a seller's market out there.
It is. And is it harder on realtors as well?
No, if you work the business long enough, you learn to go with the ebbs and the flows. And, because as a real estate agent, you do this multiple times a month, many times a year, versus a buyer or seller does this once every 10, 15 years. We learn the tools of the trade to how guide our clients, whether it's the seller or the buyer, throughout the process, and kind of put them at an advantage.
What do you hear from people in terms of wanting to look in Holliston as opposed to other towns?
It's funny we talked about the rail trail tonight, because that's definitely something that's really bringing people to Holliston. Having that downtown corridor. We're seeing a lot of people that are moving out from the city towards the suburbs, which is, that general trend. Once you have some kids or get married, you want to be in the suburbs. But what a lot of people like is that downtown feel. of the downtown area, being able to walk to shops, yoga, cafes, and having the rail trail right there.
Okay.
So that's definitely a benefit to the Holliston community, along with our schools, community in general, prices. While Holliston is not a cheap town to live in, you know, when we compare it to some other towns closer to Boston, it definitely is more affordable.
Has the Holliston and Bloom sprucing up downtown? Do people have a comment about the look of
Definitely,
downtown?
you know, I think as just the whole general feel of downtown, having the flowers, having, you know, people out there seeing that everything's cared for, definitely helps. You know, it gives just that nice impression.
Just one more question. I know you want to.
No, no, actually.
Are there any neighborhoods more desirable than other neighborhoods?
It really depends on what you're looking for. You know, everyone has their thing. People that are commuting to Boston are looking for East Holliston. You know, pretty much staying right of Highland or being able to get to that Ashland commuter rail or the Framingham commuter rail. You know, I have clients that recently had family in Worcester, so they wanted to be on the west side of town. So it's a very personal decision. You know, it really just depends on what you're looking for. And the nice thing about Holliston is you can kind of pick and choose your area. And
what house is the most popular? What style? I'm always curious.
At the end of the day, I think people still like that colonial, you know, 3-4 bedroom, 1.5, 2.5 bath. It kind of meets all those needs. 2-story. You know, that's definitely going to be your most sought after. But then, again, it's very personal. You have the people that really like the charm of the antique.
Yeah, we got a lot of
those.
those.
We have a lot of antique houses in town.
How are antiques doing?
They're good overall. I always tell clients when I meet with them as a seller, antiques sometimes take a little bit longer to sell than a non-antique house, just because you have to have a buyer that loves an antique. That's okay with the slopey floors and maybe not as much closet space as we see in other houses. But, you know, still they're very desirable, especially I think in this area of the country. You know, everyone really loves that antique feel.
Do you get involved with the over 55 market? I know most of these housings are new, but some of them have come on the market.
Yeah, I mean, I have clients of all age ranges, and the over 55s have really been popping up throughout, as we can see in Holliston. You know, we have 3.
So there's a demand for them still?
There definitely is still a demand. We see a lot of people moving out to live near their grandchildren. And I think that's probably the biggest demand in some of those units, as people decide, you know, it's time. I don't want to do the yard work anymore. I don't want to deal with it. And I want to be closer to my grandchildren. That's a big draw for people in over 55.
So tell us, I know you've got something. What about the top 5 things to do when you're buying or selling your house?
Well, I think I have a top 3.
3, whatever.
Yeah, that's okay. So top 3 buyer tips would be, the very first thing is looking at the screen, a mortgage pre-qualification. Until you know what the bank is willing to give you, you really don't know what you can look for in a house. Some people say, well, this is what I think I can spend, but they might forget about things like mortgage insurance or taxes, items like that. So I really think it's important to have a mortgage pre-qualification. After that, I think it's important to have your wants versus your needs. You know, and you have to be open with this list. There are certain things, you know, well, we have 3 children, 2 boys, 1 girl, we definitely need 3 bedrooms. We would like 4, but we definitely need 3. You know, garages, whether or not you want a certain amount of outdoor space, so that wants versus needs list. And then the last thing I would say is to find an agent that's going to work for you. As I said before, we do this multiple times a month. You do this once every 7 to 10 years. So somebody that's going to guide you through the process. So that's kind of on the buyer side. But then on the selling side, we start out again, really connecting with a real estate agent. I would say that's number 1. And don't take the process personally. It's very hard, especially when you've been in your home a long time. You really get attached to things, or you overlook certain quirks. You're like, oh, well, we know that door sticks, or you have to jiggle this handle. And then when somebody comes in to view their house, they say, well, the doors are sticky, you know, because
and they take it as a personal thing.
Personally, and you really
but not everybody.
Get out of my house.
You know,
exactly.
So I always tell people it's very hard, but don't take it personally. And I think one of the best things you can do as a seller is to start early, don't delay. Even if you don't think you're going to be moving for a year or 2 years, there's so many things that need to fall into place. And you may say, oh, well, we were going to update this because our neighbor told us that's what sells a house. But if you have an agent come in that can say to you, well, you know what, in looking at your house, I think maybe these are the two things we want to focus on. I mean, I've met clients on Sunday and had their house listed on Wednesday, so it happens. And then I have other clients that, we start about a year in advance, and I really think it makes it a smoother transition in terms of just starting to purge items.
Especially if you're
ready.
an older couple, too, I would think,
Yeah.
It's
any age, it's amazing the amount of stuff you get in your house, and, just kind of looking at it from a fresh perspective. Doesn't mean that you have to do everything right away, but just to kind of get that fresh perspective on.
So is that like staging important?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think staging is important, making everything look open and fresh. But, even just if there's projects you were going to do, you didn't realize that your roof was already 40 years old. So maybe that's something we should look into. Septic systems are really big in Holliston, as you know.
Yeah.
So you don't want that surprise at the end of, oh no, our septic system failed.
See that a lot, though.
Yeah. So I think if you can start kind of connecting with someone and talking about that process, sometimes even just talking about it, you don't have to do anything. It's a big decision to move.
It is, yeah.
Well, this is the best town to live in, so.
It is. I agree.
Why would anyone want to
We're a little biased.
Why would anyone move?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks
we'll have
for
you back
having
in,
me.
6 months maybe to give us an
Yeah,
update?
that would be great. And I'm sure I'll be back sooner than that on the other side. So.
I hope so. Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Well, it wouldn't be summer without beautiful flowers gracing Holliston's downtown. Holliston and Bloom volunteers award outstanding floral and landscape displays for both residential and commercial properties, and they tend the hanging planters and the impressive 50-foot hydrangea border at the Congregational Church Green. They also prepare our town to compete in the National America in Bloom contest. We welcome the America in Bloom judges at the community celebration. It's a beautiful summer night here in Holliston. At the Historical Society, it's the judges' reception for America in Bloom.
For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We're going to talk to the judges and see what the fun is all about. What have you seen today in Holliston?
Well, we've seen a tremendous collection of community pride, progress, and expectations for more stuff in the future, for everything.
What specifically sites have you visited?
We were at the Historic Preservation District for lunch and had a tour of the building and all of the materials that they have there of historic value.
In your trip today, was there anything that surprised you about what you learned?
Well, it was a pleasant surprise to go over to tree specialists, and we had not only got to meet the gentleman, but the wife at the same time, the Briggs family basically, and talk to him about urban forestry, but more particularly the control of the two caterpillars that are raising havoc. I lived here for a while and I know of the gypsy moth, but I didn't know anything of the winter moth. We've had all of these groups doing their own individual activities, all which benefit the town. AIB comes in and makes them all work together. More gets done for less work. Everybody shares the load, and everybody appreciates everybody a lot more.
Finally, what will you take home with you about Holliston?
One of the things that I'll take home is the wonderful environmental program that the state is allowing Holliston to participate in as a green community.
Green community designation.
Yes, I thought that was wonderful, and I really appreciated hearing about the partnership with the state.
It really is a hallmark for the town to be able to say we were one of the first to apply for this program, and we're one of half the cities in the state that are doing it.
Carolyn, what do you see the benefits of our participation in America in Bloom being for Holliston? One
thing I think that's universal in all the communities, and particularly in Holliston, is it's an opportunity to engage people around community pride and civic engagement. And I think really these projects that make up Holliston Bloom and that initiative are really working to build the fabric of the community and make those personal relationships and connections that sustain us all, and that frankly, you know, allow us to be the wonderful community that we are.
Hi, I'm Lucas Poacher. I'm a Boy Scout from Troop 73, and I'm here because of my Eagle Project in front of the old cemetery in downtown Holliston.
What was that project?
So we planted a bunch of hydrangeas and other flowers right downtown, like by the road in front of the cemetery, and it came out really nice.
So my name is Anna Curran, and I'm here for Give Back to Givers. I'm a sophomore in high school, and we're here tonight to just thank all the volunteers for Holliston and Bloom. And we're giving out little goodie bags from the green team from Robert Adams Middle School, because they've worked with them in the past. So we're really just thanking all the volunteers here, and we're saying thank you from the green team, really.
My whole life has been a blessing, and although I've traveled far, I will go back to Mudville, for it's closest to my heart. I will go back to Mudville.
For Heartbeat of Holliston, this is Chris O'Lawless.
Closest to my heart.
We'll learn the results of our work at the American Bloom National Symposium, which will be held next week in Lexington, Kentucky. As you recall, Holliston was the host community for this event last October.
Well, that's our show for tonight. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. We remind viewers that you can watch Heartbeat of Holliston every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 p.m. on Channel 8 on Comcast and on Channel 32 on Verizon. The show is also televised at other times. And you can watch us on any electronic device.
HCAT is proud to announce that we now have a completely redesigned website. It features the most current shows and gives you easy access to all your favorite shows, including Just Thinking, Sport View, and School Sports. You get direct access to our YouTube channel, which is full of fantastic content, including How Does Your Garden Grow? So check it out at www.hcattv.org. We'll also have an updated e-blast function coming soon. That's when we send out announcements when new shows are scheduled to air. Please contact us by email at office@hcattv.org or call us at 508-429-8979. With these e-blasts, you'll never miss a show you want to watch. And as always, we welcome your comments and ideas at hoh@hcattv.org. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next month.
Great. So we will end our show with a look at the summer of 2018. These photos were taken by HCAT's volunteer, Steve Hedrick, and they tell the story of what fun it is to live in Holliston. And I'd like to say before we sign off, hello to my sister Frances and all her friends on Indian Ridge Road. They're great fans of this show and watch it every night, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
I love it. That's super.
So good night, Chris.
And good night, Paul. And good night, Holliston.